Hi, guys. Welcome back to Enlightened Awakening, episode number 13, I think it is. Yeah. So today I have Isreal Ajose. Is that how you say it?
Ajose originally,
Ajose.
but a lot of people say a Jose, so
I was
I'll take
trying
it.
not to be too American with the pronunciation. You know what I mean? They're usually lazy and just pronounce it like a little
Exactly. Uh, uh,
Ajose.
yeah,
Israel Ajose
that's it.
to the
Yeah.
show. Hi, Israel. How are you doing today?
Hi, how you doing? Yes, I'm fine. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. And
Yeah.
yeah, let's make the US UK connection.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, I'm a Clark, so there's a lot of my
Yeah.
family that's from where you're from. So,
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Well, there's always been a quite a strong, special, if you want to say, even though the whole, U.S. had their independence from the United Kingdom, but they've
mhm.
always had that close connection over the years, and
Yes,
they are also the, if you want to say, the leading countries in the world today, also as well, especially in the West.
absolutely,
They are the most prominent
absolutely.
ones. So there's always been that UK US kind of
Yeah,
thing, So yeah,
totally.
no, it's a
I
great
have a
connection.
lot. I mean, we're the melting pot. The whole planet is a melting
Yeah,
pot,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like my grandmother was a war bride, so she was originally her father was from Italy, her mother was
Right,
from Poland, and then
right.
my American grandfather met her, in World War II,
The
and
two, right. Yeah,
yeah, so there's a lot of that.
cool, cool.
Anyway, so
Yeah,
tell us about your path. What led you to being an astrologer?
yeah. So prior to becoming an astrologer or getting into astrology, I was actually a professional boxer. Boxing was my life. I started it, as a sort of like my late teens, mid late teens. I started hanging around the wrong crowd, and I was getting a lot into trouble with the police and getting
You were a street
arrested.
fighter.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was just getting into trouble. It was more guilty by association. And I got caught up in that lifestyle, just hanging out on street corners, nothing better to do. Roaming the streets at midnight. Stealing things. That kind of thing. So started getting into trouble, and I remember I got arrested once, and the police guy said, "Look, you're a bright kid, why, and I remember him saying, he goes, okay, you look quite big, because I was always been a big guy, and he goes, you look quite big and quite fit, why don't you go to the boxing, or take up boxing and stuff, do something with your life. You're going to be coming into the police station every week. It's no good." And to some degree, at the time, it kind of like was going in one ear, coming out the other. But to be very honest, there was a lot of what he said that was starting to resonate. And
Planting the
some of
seed.
it, yeah, yeah. And it did well. And again, I took his advice and started doing the boxing, and I loved it. And it taught me, a lot of discipline. I'm so grateful for it. I had a very good boxing coach who just instilled that discipline for me. It was like my another father, another big brother, another uncle who kind of like, this is how you do things. So I became more respectful. I became more disciplined. My life got in, and I went from this, street kid that's running around up to no good into this real disciplined, like, I'm talking like, go training every day. I'm in my house. I'm in my bed by 10 p.m., up early in the morning, going for a jog again, going back to the gym in the afternoon. And that was my life. And I loved it. It kept me in check, kept me out of trouble at the same time. And yeah, so I had a wonderful amateur boxing career. I missed the Olympics. I was meant to go to what was the Olympics? I think, was it 94 or 98? I think it was 94, the 94 Olympics or so. I missed that, so I didn't quite make it. So yeah, but I turned professional and was having a very pretty much decent, career. And then my mom passed.
How old
And
were
that
you?
was, and this was in 99. Yeah. So, my mother passed. So I was like 27, going on 28 years old. And so my mom passed, and that was kind of like, of course, me and my mom were, really close, and,
So you're around the same age as me.
Yeah, I am. I noticed that you're well, not even 6 months. You're like something like 4 or 5 months older than me, something along that. And you're June, I'm October, so it's like
Oh,
four
so
months,
you're
four
a
months.
Libra.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Nice, nice,
So I
nice.
think I plug into your Libra ascendant. So yeah, we'll talk
That's
about
why we
that.
get along so well. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly, exactly. I knew there was a click there instantly. Like, yep. So yeah, so then mom passed, and then what happened was, I remember when my mom passed, I was actually due to have a fight, and it was quite a big fight as well. It was all in the papers. This was going to be my huge, big introduction to the world. Like, hey, come on, Israel Ajose
Mike
is like,
Tyson.
yeah, like the new up and coming star kind of thing.
Right.
And so I had the fights. It was already lined up and everything. They'd sold tickets. I remembered like the stadium had practically sold out. And because I was making waves, I was making a bit of a name. So then my mom passed. And I remember the boxing promoter, fair play to them, they did say to me that, look, your mom's just passed. If you want, we can call off the fight. And, we can, but in my mind, I'm thinking all these tickets sold and I didn't want to let down the fans and all this kind
Oh,
of,
wow.
so that was so I was like, no, I'm okay. And they're like, are you sure? We can call it off. People will understand. Your mom's passed. No, nobody's going to have a go, and, give it like 3, 4 months and then you come back and then, try to, but I was thinking, oh, I've already done I'm in the training. I'll be okay.
Mhm.
So I buried my mother, came back, and then had the fight, and I lost. So of course, mine wasn't there. I thought I was sure, but mine wasn't there. So I lost the fight, and it was a fight. Okay, he was a good guy, but really, it's like you should have beaten him. You should have. In terms of the caliber, you're a better fighter than this guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I lost that fight. So it was kind of like kind of went through this period where like I felt lost. What am I gonna do? Like okay, I've lost this fight. Shall I? And then what happened is I had a fight after that. About 3, 4 months later, I won it, but it wasn't like nothing too impressive. But it was like, okay, maybe because, you've had a bit of a time off or whatever, maybe you're just a bit rusty, but, and then I had another fight after that to which I lost. So it was like, okay, you've lost one, you kind of had a comeback fight, you just about did mediocre, and then you've lost again. It's like, that's not looking good. The record's
Yeah.
not looking great. So I went through this period of where I was just lost, and I just went on a soul search, so to speak. So I started just traveling, and going to, readers, and that's where it first started to, that information started to come up. Where I do recall one of the first readers that I went to said, look, you're meant to be doing stuff like this, and I went, stuff like what? She's like, you're meant to be doing spiritual
Oh.
stuff and teaching. And I'm like,
Was it a
yeah,
palm reader or
the,
tarot reader, or what kind of reading were you getting?
no, the first one was an astrology. It was an astrology reading. It was
Okay.
an astrology.
Like the
Yeah.
chart?
Yeah. The chart. Yeah. And I was like, something's not adding up here. Now, I did go to a palm reader. I specifically remember the palm reader, and she was saying it's almost like they knew each other, but it's two complete different people. And so she was saying same things along that same line, yeah. And there's me thinking, I don't know nothing about this stuff. I wouldn't know where to start. My thing is, I'm a boxer. I just want to, get on with my boxing career. And, can you see me becoming the heavyweight champion of the world or something? Do you see me fighting Mike Tyson and making millions of dollars and,
Mhm.
and living the fast life? And they're like, no, you can do boxing as like exercise. It's very good for you. And, like professionally, like you're meant to be going more along this kind of.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
yeah, this, no, that's
That sounds like
on
John Edwards.
Yeah,
the
right. Yeah.
medium. He was like, "You guys are crazy," and he went to see a medium to debunk the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
He's
exactly.
like,
Yeah,
"You're
exactly.
supposed to be doing this," and he's like,
Yes, exactly.
"What?"
So I fought with it for a while because I didn't know, what to. And then I took a trip. At the time, I was sponsored by a travel agent company. They were my sponsors. And I remember after I lost, well, they said, look, you can have a holiday to anywhere you want, go on holiday. And I thought, okay. And for whatever reason, to this day, it's quite astonishing because I don't know why. I mean, I was young at the time and I'm
Uh-huh.
chasing women. You thought
Mhm.
I'd be going somewhere like, okay, where I'm going to,
Cancun or
so where I'm going to get
Bahamas.
some nice, sexy women and go out. I'm going to go get laid or something. But for some reason, I picked India and I picked Israel. And I think I picked those two as well because my first name obviously is Israel. And I thought, well, they both begin with I. There's something to it for some reason. And I think I'll take a trip. I'll take a 1 week in India, 1 week in Israel. And that's where it really kind of like got me where I had a reading there. And then it all came out I'm like, okay, this is too, I can understand over there, but now I'm across in a whole different country. There's no way you guys, and you've done my chart and you've told me the exact same thing. And the first thing that he said is, oh, something happened with your mom early this year. And I was like, hold your horses. How the
Right.
heck did you see that? And so he went through it and I was like, okay. So he said, yeah, when you get back, you need to study it, start get into it and stuff. And when I went to Israel, I also got very acquainted with a particular rabbi who was also very much into astrology, which wasn't actually even part of the Judaic kind of teachings. It wasn't something that
Right.
they actually permitted. It was kind of seen as a bit like, no, we don't do that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
this rabbi was very much into astrology. And again, he did my chart. And it's like, hey, this is you, man. You need to
How
be
close
getting
is
on this. And I'm like,
how
what?
close is Israel to Egypt?
Oh, to Egypt, next door.
Right. I know it's
Right.
close.
Yes,
I
yeah, it's
have
next door,
I
next door,
feel
next door. They share the
so
same border. You can literally, if you're in the south of Israel, in like Eilat or in the sun, you can walk through. It's called the Sinai, where Mount Sinai. You can walk it and walk into Egypt. Literally, it's walk. Yeah. You can walk from Israel into Egypt within like 30 minutes. Like it's, they
wow.
share the same border, so they're very close. Yeah, yeah,
Always
yeah.
been fascinated with Egypt and like
Oh, Egypt's
yeah,
a great place. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been there like quite a number. I was there last year. Last year I was up
did you
there
take
as
a
well. It
tour
was
of the
oh yeah, yeah. I've been to the temples, mids, been in all of them. I love it. I love Egypt.
there's like an
It's
energy
yeah.
there, isn't it? Isn't that
Oh,
where astrology got its birth or something like that? Or that
yeah, yeah.
they practice
Yes. Some of the oldest records and documents that we have are either Egyptian or Babylonian. They have sort of like the oldest documentation. I mean, obviously they were doing astrology prior to those civilizations. Of course, they would have been, but yeah, they were known for being master astrologers, and
Mhm.
hence why there's a strong connection with a lot of the temples and the pyramids, how they align with particular star
Uh-huh.
constellations. So yeah,
Mhm.
so yeah, so yeah. No, Egypt's a real
Orion. There's
powerful
a
place.
lot of
Got a
stuff
very good business.
coming
Yeah,
out
yeah,
right
yeah,
now that
yeah, yeah.
they
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it's still fascinating in terms. I mean, the pyramid. I always tell people, listen, go see the. There's nothing on. I mean, I've traveled a lot of places, and listen, I've been to some beautiful places and beautiful architecture, beautiful buildings, but the pyramids are they're
there's some
breathtaking. You think,
yeah.
how the heck did they
Gee,
build it?
they never found a mummy in those. They want us to believe that they are tombs.
Exactly, exactly. And then they keep saying, "Oh, it's the place of the where the burial chamber." It's like no. And when you actually go in there, there's in the king's chamber. They say, "Oh, it's a sarcophagus." It's like this
Mm-mm.
clearly is not a sarcophagus because when you go to the Valley of the Kings or the Valley of the Queens, where they did bury there, you can see how they made their sarcophaguses and what they look like. It's like that ain't a sarcophagus. That's something else.
Yeah.
This was used for something else, but it ain't a
Maybe
sarcophagus.
that's where
And
the
plus,
one
you
of
didn't find
the
no mummy in there.
you know what
Yeah,
makes sense? I mean,
yeah,
I'm super logical, I'm a
yeah,
Gemini, so
yeah.
What makes sense is that maybe that was not a sarcophagus, but it was where they put the Ark of the Covenant,
Right,
and
exactly.
the Ark, I feel like, was a power source.
Right,
Like,
right.
maybe
Yes.
something nuclear, because when you
Right.
were exposed to it, your hair would fall out, you get, like, radiation sickness symptoms,
Right, exactly. Yeah.
and,
Adds up. It makes far more sense to me.
yeah, and there wasn't only just
I mean, when you
one.
go into this chamber, you can tell like this chamber was like, I mean, and again, the Egyptians were known for writing, and if you go into their tombs or where they rested their loved ones or their kings and queens, you see beautiful paintings and artwork on the king's chamber in the pyramids.
There's
Nothing,
nothing,
nothing. There's not a
nothing,
thing. It's like this is not a it's not a tomb, man. And there's nothing on the
right.
walls.
You
And
think it
then
was a
you've got this little
generator?
shaft. Yeah, you got this little shaft in the wall that points out and leads and is going pointing to Orion. It's like, come,
There
come.
there were hot springs underneath of it, so if it was like a
Yeah,
hydro generator,
right.
it would make
Yeah,
sense that they had
make
electricity through the air, because if
exactly.
you go into the places where there were all these hieroglyphs and stuff like that,
Yeah,
absolutely no way for light to get in there at all whatsoever,
exactly.
and there's
Exactly.
no
Yeah.
candle
Right. Yeah.
marks or anything like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
There's like no residue
Yeah. Well,
from.
well, it's quite interesting because even with the pyramids, they say that the pyramids, as it comes down, there's actually another pyramid that's going like that. So it's like a
Oh,
diamond
like
shape.
underground, you mean?
Yeah. So it goes like a diamond shape. So that is actually a reflection of what's underneath, and it's going like that,
What does
which is
that
quite interesting
mean?
because when you go in the pyramids, there's a place where you go in, and then there's a thing that's going down, and it's blocked in all of them. And I
Right.
remember saying to the God, "What's down there?" And he's like, "Oh, no, 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 nobody can go down there." And yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
What's down there?
Yeah. Nothing to see here, people. Move
Yeah,
along.
exactly. It's like, "Oh yeah, go up into the shaft." And I'm like, "Yeah, but there is a tunnel going down there. It's clear because you put a door there, right? So there's something going down there. What's down there? Tell us." No, they won't. They won't.
Yeah, I was just watching something on this last night or the night before,
Yeah,
and I think it was Grant Carlson, whatever his name is,
yeah,
that did that show on Netflix, and
yeah.
he's
No,
talking,
no,
and he's
not.
like,
Is
they
it
want us
Graham
to believe
Hancock?
that the slaves built the pyramids, and
No, no way,
slaves
no way.
were, if there were any, they were malnourished and they didn't have the strength to be pulling these things, and you couldn't,
There's no
he was
way on planet. I
debunking
don't
it.
care how many slaves
Yeah, there's
they would
no,
still be there today
not.
trying to move those things. I'm like, there's no way.
And you have
It's
these like
impossible.
what? I don't know, several ton
I mean, at
snow.
each block weighs like 100 tons, and each block is exactly same size, same weight. And I'm telling you, these pyramids were not built with any cement. They're like that. I mean, they are smooth as a baby's ass, and
I know.
they just so it's like how you what?
Yeah.
It's like
A
it's yeah
more either a more advanced race,
yeah
or
yeah yeah
they put us all to sleep at some
yeah.
point
So
or something,
yeah.
or maybe a
And
little
what
bit
was
of all
quite
of it.
interesting, I mean, the last time I went, we had a little tour because sometimes it's if you get like a tour guide, sometimes you can get in quicker into some of the places. So we had this tour guide, and he was with us, and there was like a group of us, and he was taking us around. And one of the people who was with us was an engineer, and he'd been an engineer for the like last 25 years of his life, kind of thing. So when we would get to a spot, the guide would say, "Oh, and they built this by putting these stones on sand, and then they take more sand and they keep raising it."
Wow.
And the engineer was like, "So that's the story you're giving us?"
Right.
And he's like, "Yeah, that's how we." And he's like, "I've been an engineer 25 years. There's no way on
Right.
planet. I'm not buying that, man. Like, don't tell
Right.
me they use sand and they were using it to move it
Yeah,
upward. Like, it's like,
no. No,
it makes no
absolutely not.
sense. It's like, yeah,
You know
you
what the
know,
funny thing
Mm,
is? Until
yeah,
recently, a lot of people just believed that.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's uncanny how many people are
Yeah,
waking up.
well, that's what they fed us, and that's the people in positions of power, according to their understanding, that was their thing. And but obviously, of course, as things are advancing and people are asking more questions and people are, researching more, it's like, yeah, this stuff, I don't think you're on the money. It's like, it's
Yeah.
there's more to it than what meets the eye. Let's. And
Remember before the
apparently with
show we were
Egypt.
talking and I said, "Oh, that people don't realize they're asleep until they wake up and then they're like, oh my gosh,
Exactly.
I was asleep."
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
And apparently, with I was speaking with an archaeologist a few years back, and he goes, "Isn't it funny that in Egypt, with all he goes, do you know that only like something like 5 or 10% of it is what is out there to the people or what has been dug up?" He said,
oh yeah.
there's stuff that is beneath sands and they're in the desert that it goes, but it goes, they just won't allow people to excavate. It goes, but there's
Mhm.
far more. They've got far more treasures. It goes, what we're seeing is nothing.
There's a
You
whole
know,
new chamber
yeah, there's
that
chambers and there's
they
things that are buried and
refuse to go in there.
yeah.
What?
But they just keep it's all the Giza pyramids, Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Queens, and that, and it's like no, these people had tons of stuff. You know, they have tons
Yeah.
of temples. They have
It's
tons
like,
of stuff.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
curiosity killed the cat. So
yeah,
humans are
yeah.
curious by nature. So if you're not going in there, that means you're probably not curious.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
probably know what's in there. Is why you're not
Exactly.
letting us go in there.
What's up? Right. Exactly.
That's just what makes sense to
Exactly.
me.
It's
What
crazy.
feels
It's
right.
crazy.
So that little trip right there led
Yeah. So
you
that
to be
opened
an
me up. So I
astrologer.
came back. And I never forget, I had a computer. It was my first computer. I bought it off my friend, early 2000, 2001 or so. And I remember I was just clicking on the internet one day and it was my birthday. My birthday was coming up. And I said to myself, what am I going to do for my birthday this weekend? And I just went on the internet and I just remember putting in tarot. I put it in the search engine and then it came up. There was a tarot class that weekend of my birthday, and I was like, "Wow!" And it was literally just around the corner from where I live. And
What is your birthday? What number?
6th of October.
It's my
Yeah.
life path number.
Oh yeah, I know. That's I know. I just did it. I noticed that you're number 6. I noticed you're number 6.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna treat myself to this, and surely enough, I went, and that was it. It was the great Liz Green, um, who's written a number of books on tarot, astrology. She's an astrologer, one of the most famous astrologers out there. And she was, having this workshop on the tarot. And it like literally, she blew me away. And I was like, God damn. And then I remember at the end of the course, she said, yeah, we do astrology as well. And, we're starting in September. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. And then, so I started on the beginner's class. And then I started to do, and before you know it, within the 2-3 years, I was just immersed in this astrology and
And if
and
anybody
yeah.
told you that you were a bunch of woo woo, you could punch them in the face and win a belt.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble, don't
Yeah,
tase
yeah.
me, bro.
It's like, yeah. And I still pack a punch, don't be clear like, my eyes are on the stars, but I can still pack a punch.
Right.
I can make you see them stars if you want. Like,
Right.
I can bring those stars much closer, like,
Oh, I love it. That was a good one.
yeah. So,
Woo.
yeah. So yeah, no, great stuff. But it's been a very interesting journey. It's taken like a whole from boxing to astrology. It's like when people who know me now, it's like, wow, like how the heck did you get into that? Like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
because most people like in boxing, it's well known. Like maybe after their boxing career, they will continue. They're going to be a boxing coach themselves, or maybe they might go into other professions like security. The sort of like protection, close
Right.
protection guards. Yeah, so they'll go into maybe things like that or other businesses. But it's like you went like from astrology to you're from boxing to
You know
astrology.
what's
It's
playing
like
in my head right
because
now?
yeah, yeah.
I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. Go figure, right?
Right, okay.
Right. Daenerys is my hero, right? And I was thinking of Hodor He was
Oh,
so big, and when,
Meg, right.
when Bram was going back visiting his childhood, "Oh, look at him, man. Look, if he ever learned to fight, he'd be unstoppable."
Stuff.
So, like, he's not going to learn how to fight. He's a
I
stable
know,
man.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, no, it's been really interesting. It's like when people are saying they're going, you into. I remember I went to a boxing match one day, and then there was a guy there. We and him used to train together. We used to box, and I ain't seen him in years. And it's like, yeah, how you doing, John? He's like, yeah, yeah. And it's like, so what are you doing now with your life? And I said, like, oh, I'm an astrologer. He's like, what? An astrologer? I was like, yeah, I'll do astrology. He went, like, zodiac signs and stuff. I was like, yep, that's me. He's like, wow. It's like, but what was quite interesting is I got talking with him, and he said to me, because he used to box himself, he was quite a very good boxer. And he said, he goes, my dad was into that stuff. And his dad used to train him, because I knew his dad very well as well. And he said, my dad was into that stuff. I goes, are you serious? He goes, yeah. He goes, every time I fought, he goes, my dad would go to the tarot reader or the astrologer before to find out, am I going to do good? Am I going to win? He goes, my dad's really into that stuff. And I was like,
Wow.
no way. And he's like, yeah, yeah. So it was quite interesting, like, to know that, okay, there's people actually in the boxing world who are kind of open to that. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
rumor has it you had a near-death experience.
Yeah. I had, this was around about age 7.
This is how I am listening to this.
Yeah, this is like real. So what had happened is, me and my sister, I've got a number of sisters, but me and my sister, the closest one to us, when we grew up together, there's like 3.5 years between us. So when we were young, one of my aunties used to come round, and she sometimes would, babysit us while my mother went to work.
Mm-hmm.
However, there was a particular weekend where she couldn't come around. So my mom had us for that weekend. And so my mom said, look, I'm going to take you guys swimming, because me and my sister used to love swimming. We were very good swimmers. We had certificates, swimming, from school. And she goes, well, I'm going to take you swimming. So it was like, great, we're going to swim it. So cut a long story short, we went swimming. Now, we've gone swimming. Now, in this swimming pool, and this swimming bath, or the swimming pool place, it's still there now. It's a gym now. It's still there where I was when I was young. It's still there now. It's in a place in London called Elephant and Castle. But what it was is, they had this, so they had the shallow end and they had the deep end. And obviously, they would say, people like me, I was only 7, to say, stay in the shallow end. My sister would go in the deep end and things like that. But what happened is they had this thing. It was known as the electric waves. And it would come on like every 15 minutes or so, or and what would happen was, if they had this, so it would make it like really sort of like wavy kind of thing. And it was quite good, because everyone would be like, yeah, so it kind of gave
like
a feeling
the
that you're
ocean.
in the sea kind of thing. Yeah. And it was called the electric waves. So they'd put it on, and they'd put it on for like 5 minutes, and then they'd stop it again. And then maybe 15 minutes later, they'd do it again. And it's good. So, so these electric waves have come. So what has happened is, I was a good swimmer. I was quite confident. So I thought, I'm going to swim over to the deep end to go see my sister, So I'm there swimming. And as I'm in the middle of this big, gigantic swimming pool, these electric waves have come on. So then the waves are carrying me like that. And my feet ain't touching the ground. So I'm already in the kind of deep end. And I'm like, okay, let me try and swim back to the shallow end. But as I kept going, waves kept pushing me back. So I'm trying to, think. Lo and behold, I'm grasping for air. The last thing I just remember just going down under the water, and I blacked out. However, I then saw myself hovering above the swimming pool,
You
and there was an
saw
old man
yourself
beside me. Yeah. So I'm
instead
standing
of
by this
looking
old man.
down at yourself.
So I'm looking down at myself.
Oh, okay.
I'm hovering above the pool, and I'm looking at myself in under the water in the pool. And there's an old man standing beside me, and he's holding my hand, and I'm like, and he says, "Don't worry, it's gonna be all right." That's what he says. He goes, "Watch," and I'm watching, and I saw the lifeguard who's seen me, and he's jumped in the pool. So he's jumped in the pool, he's got me out, and he's put me on the side of the pool, and he's pumping my chest. And then, so I'm hovering over, and then I saw my sister. So my sister's got out of the pool, and I'm following her. I'm like hovering above her, watching her. And I saw my sister and go in, and she's gone. My mom was in the cafeteria just waiting for us. And my sister's gone into the cafeteria with the towel. And my mom said to her, "Where's your brother?" And she says, "I don't know, he's in the pool. I think something's happened." And my mom says, "What do you mean something's happened? I told you to keep an eye on your brother and look after your brother." So I'm looking at, so I'm following them back round. Mom's come back round. This lifeguard is trying to save me, and I'm still hovering above them with this old man. And again, within a split second, it's like switched. And next minute, I'm seeing the lifeguard, and he's like, "You okay?" And I'm brought back to life again.
Was your mom screaming?
And when I came back, the guy said I was out for 7 minutes. I was unconscious for 7 minutes, and they were trying to pump, and all this water had come out my there, and I was out for 7 minutes.
Did you see the guy that was standing there with you? Did you see what he looked like?
That's it. No, he was kind of. So I was kind of describing him. I remember he was kind of tall. He had like a beard. So then what happened was, after that happened, and my mom's like, "Okay, the ambulance had come and everything was checked out." When we got home, I said to Mom, "I saw you." She went, "Well, what do you mean you saw me?" I said, "I saw when my sister Sophie came to you and you were shouting at her." And my mom said, "Don't be silly. You wasn't even there." And I said, "No, I was there. I said, I was hovering. I followed Sophie from the poolside. I saw her run to come and get you, and you were shouting at her, 'Where's your brother?'" And then my mom looked at me like I could see, I'll never forget the look on her face. She looked at me as if to say, "Look, you're freaking me out. You weren't there. Your sister came to me, and you weren't there. You were drowned. You were unconscious." So I told her, I said, "No, she came." I said, you had a coffee in front of you. You had some biscuits, and you were sitting there. You was on the table by yourself. I described everything, how she got up, and she was shouting at my sister, "I told you to look after your brother and keep an eye out on him and whatever." And she was like, "Well," but then I said to her, "I was with this old man." And she goes, "Which old man?" And I started to describe him. And then she said, "It sounds like your grandfather." Which is quite interesting because I'd never met my grandfather. He had passed way before I was born. I didn't know what the hell he looked like. I'd never met him. But the description that she says, "That sounds like your grandfather." Because I said, "Oh, he had a pointed," and she said, "Yeah, he used to have this pointed chin, and he had this like goatee kind of thing."
Wow.
And she's like, "That's your grandfather." But the look on her face was like, you've never met, you haven't even seen a picture of him. Because there wasn't even a picture.
If you couldn't identify him, I was going to ask if you thought maybe it was your guy.
Right. So yeah, so she said it looks like your grandfather. So it's like, okay, so
wow.
Yeah, the grandfather or guy, but whoever it was, I remember him holding my hand, and he just went, "Shh, don't say nothing. It's okay. I'll watch."
You're going to be fine.
He said, "You're okay." He goes, "You're going to be fine." He goes, "Just watch. You're going to be fine. Stay here." He said, "Stay here with me." And I'm thinking, "Stay with you." I'm hovering above here. Stay where else I got to go?
Right.
I'm holding your hand, but I'm hovering. Like, what the heck is going on? Yeah, and yeah, never forget that. I was 7 years old, and yeah, I had that experience. It was quite, I'd never forget it. I'd never forget it. And it was quite interesting because as I was drowning, I remember as I was fighting it, I was trying to breathe, and I was like, getting a bit of air, but then the thing would take me under, and I'd come back up again. I remember what this always stuck out with me. I saw a picture of a grave. And I was wondering, I wonder if that's my grave. I saw a gravestone.
Oh, I bet you that
saw
was
an
your
image of it.
grandfather.
Really stuck with me. I saw an image of a gravestone, and I was thinking, I wonder if that was me. And it sort of like had the date, but it didn't have the date of death. I remember it. I remember like it said like me, and it's like, and it had the gravestone there with the flowers, and I was wondering, it's like, I wonder if that's my gravestone. Like it must be or something. But yeah, I went and was out. Well, they said I was out for 7 minutes. Like it was
Have
like,
you had a
yeah,
lot of out-of-body experiences? You said that you had some.
yeah. Out of body experiences, especially. I got it. There was a particular. I don't do it as much anymore, but I got into again when I was starting my spiritual journey, so to speak, my awakening. I started getting into a lot of sort of like vivid dreams and things of that
Mhm.
nature. And I've still got the book here where it talks you through the process of how you can start to do that and how you have to be very conscious of when you're going to sleep and things what to think
Mhm.
of. And it takes you through a step by step, really easy process of how to think. And I got it. Like I really started getting it where I would have this and I would just come out of my body and I would go places. It was like, yeah, it was real crazy. I did it for like for quite a number of years, and then I just kind of like stopped doing it. But I would do it, like
Yeah.
I would purposely do it, like I'm have these. And I'll tell you a story. Where I used to live, I had this big jar. It was huge. It's like it was a glass jar. I
Mhm.
bought it from a market.
Mhm.
It's just, and it was really thick. Like you couldn't break this thing. It was really thick glass, very heavy, and it was
Whoa.
like a big jar. So what I used to do is I used to put, coins, the
Mhm.
money. Anytime I go out, when I came back in, if I had any coins, any pound
You
coins
thought it
or
was heavy
2 pound coins,
empty.
right. So I would just put it in there.
Yeah.
And every time my friends would come around, and even my girlfriend at the time, there's loads of money in there. Like there must be like, 500 pounds. Because anytime I came in, I was really disciplined. I would come in and put the money in, I put the money in, I put the money in. And the jar was about 3/4 full. And we went out one day. I went out with my girlfriend and I came back and I was opening the door and I'd noticed that the door was a bit loose. And I was like, what's happening here? So we came in, um, and something just didn't seem right. And I was looking around and I was like, I looked at the jar because the jar was where the TV was and it wasn't there. And I was like, damn, we've been robbed. And my girlfriend went, what? What do you mean? I went, the jar's gone. And then I looked around. I used to have this video recorder, it was back in the day of the video recorders, and that had gone as well. So the person was maybe a bit of an opportunist or something, and they'd come in and obviously they'd seen the jar and they must have thought, well, Christmas has come early, and they took the jar and it's like, I really felt I could not, like, I'm trying to say I was just there for hours. We'd gone out in the evening, we'd come back about 10 o'clock in the evening, and I was just sitting there. And my partner, my girlfriend was saying, don't worry about it, just, there's not much you can do, just go to sleep, maybe tomorrow morning, report it to the police or something.
Mm.
And I was like, yeah. But it was just really bugging me. I mean, I didn't feel nice that somebody had entered where I was living, first and foremost. I didn't like that.
Right.
That's where I first got the feeling of, because before, when I used to hear people say they burgled my house, I used to be like, yeah, okay, they took some stuff, but, get over it.
But
But
that
that's where I
jar
really,
was something that you had put years and years of kind of work
money,
into,
yeah, and all my
and it
money, and
wasn't really
when I
about
go,
the amount of money, it was about the
exactly, yeah.
building it over the years, the
Yeah.
long
And it was
term.
just taken from me like that.
Yeah.
So I was pondering on it. I was thinking about it. It was just on my mind. Who could it have been? Who could it have been? Who could have gone into this apartment and done that? Must be somebody who lives in this, because I was living in an apartment with other
Mhm.
flats. So I was like, it couldn't have been an outsider because I lived on the top floor. I mean, who's going to come and burgle
Right.
the house and say, oh, let me go into this apartment and I'm going to go to the top floor and I'll go and burgle them there? It wouldn't make no sense. So it would have to be somebody in the building. I was just trying to think, who could it have been? Who could it have been? Like, that kind of thing. And it was just on my mind. And I remember that thought was just on my mind until I went to sleep. And when I went to sleep, what happened was I was shown a film. It's almost like I was showing a film. Again, just a bit similar to what happened when in the pool. I was just kind of like in a hovering,
Mhm.
and it took me from the guy. So I was watching the guy from behind,
You saw
watching
what he
him
looked
come.
like?
Oh yeah. I know who he was. I found out who he was. He came in, so he was. I was from behind. came into my apartment. I saw him pick up the thing. I was watching it like I was watching a movie, and I'm right behind him, just following him. So he's gone in, he's come out, and where I used to live, I was on the top floor. And then above me, there was a penthouse. The people who lived there, they owned it. So you had these kind of extra stairs, which kind of went up to this penthouse, and it was like a corridor. Nobody used to go there. It was like,
How did he lift it?
because
Wasn't it super heavy?
well, yeah, he was here, but I was following him. So he came out of my apartment. He didn't go downstairs or whatever. He went up like he was going towards the penthouse. So he went to the penthouse and emptied the money in the bag. And I'm there watching him. He emptied the money in the bag, and then he left the jar on the stairs there and took the camera and took the bag and went downstairs. And then I woke up. And when I woke up, I got dressed and I went to the top of where the penthouse was, and the jar was there.
So you knew
where he left it, exactly where he left it from what the vision that was showing me. And I knew exactly who it was who took it.
Did you go get your stuff back?
He lived in my building as well. So he was one of my neighbors.
Did you have him arrested?
No, because I didn't have no proof. But yeah, we kind of.
Oh right, it was all changed.
I kind of got my own back, kind of. But I knew who it was. I knew who it was who took it. Yeah.
Oh man, wow.
Yeah. Never forget that. And I was watching him. It was like a movie. I was following him I saw how he came in, how he buzzed, how he opened up my door, everything. I was just watching him. I saw him pick up the gun, and I just got up, and I came back with the jar. And when I came in, my girlfriend woke up and she went, "Where did you get that from?"
That's so weird. I heard.
And I said, I talked her through it, and she was like, "Yeah." I said it was up there.
A couple weeks ago, I've been missing a few things. And a couple weeks ago, as I was waking up, I heard this voice tell me where it was for.
I don't know what it was.
Not where it was, but somebody took it. And I was like, as I was waking up, and I was like, "What?" But they gave me a name. They gave
you a name?
They gave me a name, and I was like,
"Wow."
I was like, maybe it might have been better if just.
Wow.
I hate that. I mean, I don't hate it.
Well, you have these talents, you see.
As I'm getting older, maybe this is just what's going on in the planet in general and humanity in general.
Yeah.
But I'm to a point now, maybe it's my age, who knows? But I'm to a point now where there's not a lot that I miss.
Right. Yeah.
And there's people around that don't realize you don't miss anything, and they don't realize that you can see things. And I'm just sitting here going, ignorance is truly bliss. It really is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The more you know, the more you're like,
exactly.
Exactly.
No, you're right. It's and I think also as well with age, with age comes wisdom as well. You're a bit more settled. You're not so rattled anymore. You're bit more grounded, a bit more settled in yourself. And you're at a point where the universe can really, get a hold of you and say, "Hey."
Right.
So you're more in tune to picking up these frequencies. As opposed to when we're young, we want to party, we want to have a good life. Well, fair enough, it's understandable. But sometimes we're distracted. The older we get less distracted. Yeah.
You're busy with working and kids and family and
yeah.
So you teach astrology too, right?
Yeah, so I teach astrology. So I've been teaching it now for over 15 years. So yeah, I run a number of courses from beginners to advanced level. So my courses are set up in a way I've just sort of like this year I sort of like redid it, because prior what I was doing was I was running live classes. I'm still running live classes, but what I was doing was I would start like the course maybe in like September. And run it through the year till the following summer. So, but what was happening was I was getting people, sometimes I would start and then I would get people maybe when I'm halfway through, they say, "I would like to join." I'm like, "Well, I'm halfway through." So it's like, you'll be missing out. So, but what I've done now is like, I've kind of remodeled it now. So I still have the live classes, but what now I do now is when I got it in a way, I've got a teaching platform. So when people sign up, they have their own portal. So they set up their portal with their password and they can log in at any time. And then there is
The
all
recordings.
the recordings. So they've got recordings for each topic, and then there's also the recordings from the live classes also as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they
So you
can
could
watch
do
it. So
like one live class a month or something. Unless
yeah, I do
you
every week.
that. Okay, there you go.
Every week, every
Yep.
week, every week. It's on a Tuesday. As a matter of fact, on Tuesday there's 2 classes. So also catering for those people in the US.
Yeah.
You
Because
know,
you're
so
6 hours
uh,
ahead of us.
yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, so yeah,
It's
yeah.
probably pretty late for you right now,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's coming up to 11 o'clock. It's okay.
Sorry. I keep forgetting that.
We can
Every
stay up.
year it's like quarter of 5 where I am,
Yeah,
4:44. I keep seeing like
yeah.
numbers and triples.
Numbers, okay, yeah. Numbers are powerful. It's the way the universe sends them. It's the universal language. It's the way the universe is sending messages to us. 111,
Hey, I have
222,
seen
22,
today
yeah,
111. I've seen 222, and I just looked
222.
down and it said 444.
Oh, wow, there we go. So it's all about the foundation, baby. It's all about the restructuring. It's all about getting yourself together, building that foundation. So that's wonderful. Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
that what?
The 4-4. So you saw 4-4-4. So you saw 3 fours?
Yeah, it
Three,
was just 444.
4-4-4-4. Yeah. So 444. So then the objective in numerology is that we add up the number till we get a single digit. So the 444 is going to be 12,
Which
and
is going to
12
be
essentially
3.
is 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the number that is associated with the planet Jupiter very often, which is about expansion, spirituality, travel, abundance. And that's what that's about. So it's indicating growth, stability, abundance, travel, ambitions. It's
So then
all of those
earlier
kind of
today I
things.
saw 111, which equals 3.
3 again. So again, we're back
And then
again
I
to the same.
saw
Yeah.
222
So
today,
222,
which
so that's
equals
a 6.
6, which is
That
my
which
life
is your
path
life path
number.
number. So
So
which
is
is
that a
all about
message?
relationships. That's all about relationships. It's all about balance. It's all about harmony. It's all about peace and tranquility. It's all about connecting with other people. It's about social life. It's about love. So it's connected
Oh,
with the planet Venus. So that's good. And interestingly, today's Friday, which is the day of Venus also as
oh,
well. So yeah.
wow. Wow. Yeah. Maybe I should go
Yeah.
get me some of that tranquility in my.
You've already got it. You've
So
already got it.
you also
Yeah.
have a podcast, right?
I do have a podcast. I have a weekly podcast. It's called the Lunar Lounge podcast.
Mhm.
And it's a live podcast, but the recordings are also, the recordings are
It's on
uploaded
YouTube.
immediately after I do the live.
Mhm.
So it's there on YouTube, and it's on all the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. It's available there as well. And it's called the Lunar Lounge podcast.
Mhm.
And so the live, it's every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. UK time.
Okay.
So for people who are interested or would like to tune in, adjust the clocks
Updates
according to
on
your time. So I'm in the UK. So 12:30 p.m. afternoon every Wednesday. It's more astrological orientated, but I will talk about other things as well. I do a thing called the Tarot Card of the Week. I also do a
oh,
competition where people win, like £30, kind of thing, or sometimes there's a book up for grabs, but I've lately seen more money. So yeah, it's quite cool.
nice.
But I talk more about like the planetary aspect, what's going on in the sky right now, how it's having its influence on Earth, or how it's being reflected in human affairs. Just letting them know, okay, the sun is squaring Saturn right now, so that could be quite heavy. I'll speak about like Mercury retrograde or any other planet that's retrograding, or planets that are making aspect with each other, or planets that are changing signs. And recently we had the planet Pluto move into Aquarius, which was a big one.
Mm.
So things like that are the things that I will tend
Pluto's
to,
so far out. It moves so slow. Is that
so
where
very
the
slow.
dawning of the age of Aquarius song came
Aquarius,
from?
right? Yes, yes,
We're
yes, yes.
now in the
Yeah, it's official. We're definitely in that age now.
which
We're
makes
definitely
sense
in that age.
because like I've been into astrology my whole life pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, I just dabbled in it. I didn't dive deep in it, you know what I mean?
right.
But all these years I've learned a lot, and Aquarius can be a little messy. They can be a little
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
messy
yeah,
side, which,
yeah.
just looking up people who were an Aquarius.
Aquarius.
But, us being in the age of Aquarius, there's some
Yeah.
messiness going on right now.
So
So they,
yeah, yes, yes. Yeah, there's an
so,
element. I mean, Aquarius has this kind of rebel nature. It's it's a bit of a rebel.
mm,
It's got this element of not wanting to follow the status quo. It wants to do its own thing.
mm. That kind
So
of sounds like me. Do I have Aquarius
yeah.
or Uranus? I think
Oh,
Uranus.
Uranus, yeah. Oh, Uranus, yeah, yeah. Well, you've got Uranus in the first house, so you've got a very strong Uranus energy there. So yeah, that's going to make you very unique and very
Yeah.
very spontaneous and want to do your own thing. But it gives you the great thing about Uranus is Uranus has a very innovative. Is linked with the genius. It's a very progressive planet, and so is Aquarius. Aquarius has that innovation also as well. But yeah, Uranus gives that ability to be innovative. It's very humanistic also as well. So it's very good for social activities or
Mm,
activities which favor humanity in some kind of way or progress. So things like this, and this is why Uranus is often linked with things like social sciences or technology or things that are innovative and things that can better humanity or move humanity forward or progress humanity forward in some way. So these are that's Uranus. So you have a strong Uranus because you've got Libra rising and you've got Uranus there in your first house. So that's going to make you very unique in your own way, but somebody who's a genius, but can be seen. You may be seen as somebody who's a bit different from the rest, somewhat a bit detached,
oh
who's like,
yeah. Oh
okay,
yeah.
like the crowd is here, but
You want to hear a
Shauna's
funny
here, and like,
story?
yeah,
It's
go
really
ahead,
short, a very short
go ahead,
story, but
go
it
ahead.
explains exactly what you're saying.
You say, yeah,
Because I am very social and I can be the life of the party. I literally
right,
have
yeah,
many
yeah,
times and entertain everybody. And I
yeah,
went to work at this new place one time and, you know, I, I don't care what people think for the
right,
most part.
right,
You know what I mean? I'm gonna do what I'm gonna
yeah.
do. It's like, oh, you don't like it? Sorry, I'll have to
I'm
tell you.
sorry, yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? That's my thing, right? So
yeah,
I went to work at this new place, and this one girl's like, a lot of people here don't like you. And I told her, I said, you know what, honey, they don't really know me yet. Wait till they get to know me.
right, yeah.
They'll
Well,
like me then. It'll be fine. You watch. And then I sat there and thought to myself, well, that was a little egotistical to say that.
right,
And I'm like,
yeah,
I'm thinking, yeah, but it's true. Sure
yeah.
enough, a few months later, everybody's my friend. You know?
That's right, exactly, yeah. Yeah, so I think that there can be a little bit of you because you've got that Libra rising, which gives you the charm, and again, it's ruled by Venus, which is very good for again socializing, and somebody who can be very diplomatic and talk with people, and and bring a sense of harmony and beauty to the environment. But then the Uranus there is like, oh, when that comes up, and with Uranus is a very unpredictable planet. He can be seen as somewhat erratic. You never quite know. So it's like
Yeah.
you're going to be the kind of person like, you're, okay,
People
cut
are
it,
like,
like
"Okay, we're all gonna do this." I'm like, "Well, I'm not doing that."
doing
"Yes,
that
we are,
exactly,
honey. We're all doing this." "Oh, no, y'all can go. I'm not doing that." And
exactly,
then look at me like,
exactly.
"What is wrong with
Um,
you?"
yeah, yeah,
I'm like, "It's
yeah.
okay.
So
Y'all
yeah,
y'all go do that. I'm not go."
yeah. That's
Yeah, that makes
exactly.
sense.
That's Uranus. You see, Uranus is a planet. It's very interesting. Uranus would actually go to the opposite side just to prove a point.
Yeah.
That, oh, you're going over there. Okay, well, I'm going to go over there just to say that I can go over there. That's Uranus for you. He's, so it can go to
Yes.
that extreme just to,
Yeah,
just
it's
to
like,
say that, well, I'm not following the status quo, so I'm going to just go over there.
right. But I won't do it just to be obstinate. I will only do it if I'm like, "That doesn't feel right. I don't think
Oh yeah,
so.
yeah, oh
This
yeah,
one
definitely,
does."
yeah, definitely, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
It's a
got no problem speaking up.
Uranus is more of an energy like, well, why is everybody going left? Because that's what the rules say. Well, I can go right too, right? So I'm going to go
Right?
right to just
Like,
to prove
for
a point that I can go
example,
right. I don't have to go. Yeah,
the pyramids.
yeah, yeah,
Nobody had to
exactly.
convince me of that. They just
Right,
explained the
yeah,
facts, and I'm like, "Oh, yep,
exactly,
that's right. It's not
exactly.
Jim." That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what makes
Yeah.
sense. Everybody's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no, let's go
No,
on
no.
logic here. I don't think so. Yeah,
So people,
there's an
you're gonna get
example.
a lot of people thinking, "Oh, you conspiracy theorist? Are
Right.
you in because Uranus is into things that are unusual.
Yeah.
Aliens,
Wait, and then there's the
UFOs.
Gemini, my sun
Yeah,
sign.
yeah,
I'm like, look, I'm
exactly.
logical.
So you got the
I'm going to go
curiosity as
with what
well.
makes
Yeah,
sense. I
yeah,
don't care if
yeah,
everybody is on the
yeah.
other side.
And so yeah.
I'm going to
Well,
go
you
with
got
what makes
4
sense.
planets in Gemini.
Oh.
You've got Sun in Gemini, Mercury in Gemini, Venus in Gemini, and Saturn in Gemini. So you've got 4 planets in Gemini, which is like
Holy
really like
Mary.
wow. Yeah, it's
That-
it's a big one.
So I want to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure. Really, really enjoyed it. Wonderful, great insights, and yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if anyone else would like to have their chart done or their palm read or tarot card reading, right?
Yeah.
Oh, before we go, I forgot to show you. Go figure, right?
Oh, Game of Thrones tarot. Oh, yeah. I need to get one of those.
2 questions that I ask all my guests at the end. And the first one is, what is the meaning of life to you?
Ooh. The meaning of life to me is to continue to grow, continue to evolve, and continue life itself to keep expanding. The meaning of life for me is it's not life is not a destination. It's a journey. It's the journey itself. And it's the journey to keep on discovering and to realize and to recognize that you are an eternal being. As much as the universe is eternal, so are you. And we continue to be eternal and continue to grow and continue to evolve. So, yes.
Oh, I love it. Beautiful.
Thank you.
And if you could leave our guest with, if you had some profound advice for our listeners and watchers that could potentially be life-changing, what would that be?
Advice would be open and question everything. Don't ever seek don't ever limit yourself. Just when you think that you've reached a limit or you've got it or you discovered it, there's more. There is always more. And
Yeah. And I have some advice for you. Go win a title. Go win a belt. No.
Yeah. Adrian.
I'm not gonna tell you, Adrian. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Get back in the ring and stop fighting those blows.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
It's been
Thank
a
you for having me.
pleasure.
Always yes, and would love to come back. Yeah, it's a wonderful show. Great, thank you. Love the energy.
We had to span it over 2 days there.
Yeah, quite rightly so.
I think you might match me right in that category right there. Being a talker, I think you got me.
Yeah, no, wonderful stuff. Great, thank you.
You're welcome, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Thank you, guys. Bye.